G'day everyone, Artist Wayne Dowson here with another DR650 adventure. On Saturday of the October long weekend, I met up with 6 other fellow adventure riders for a weekend of awesome riding. And like a dog let off its leash, we were off to hit the trails, winding our way through dirt and tar, heading towards Gloucester. And as for the weather, well, it just couldn't get any better. There was Jidge on his KTM 950 Super Enduro, Mike on his DR650, Glenn on his BMW, Jamie on his wife's DR650, Craig on his Super Tenere, and Al riding his BMW 800. And as we continued to ride on dirt and tar, making our way to Gloucester, I actually collided with a big kangaroo. We bounced off each other. I managed to stay on the bike, but the boys who came through after me said that it had a broken leg. Craig pulled over to try and catch it and put it out of its misery, but it had gotten through a fence and hobbled away, and I still cringe thinking about the poor thing now. We all stopped at Gloucester for fuel, had a bite to eat, and then made our way out towards Bundook in search of more dirt roads. Found a nice little spot to have a rest in the shade, and Al even had a swim. And why wouldn't he? Just look at how beautiful it is. Up ahead, the boys had tried to catch Jidge, who'd taken the wrong route, but they didn't have a hope in hell. Take it from me, this guy can really ride. So we all continued on and planned to meet Jidge at Ginger's Cafe, and that's when we came to this beautiful spot. You come to places like this and it's like sitting on top of the world. And we just rode from one glorious vista to the next. Everywhere I looked there was a view waiting to be painted. We made our way on a beautiful dirt trail that ran along the top of a ridge. Every now and again you'd ride past cattle which were grazing along the edge of the road. Just magnificent. Coming out of the bush on my right, I thought I saw a yowie, but it turned out to be Mike on his DR650. And after riding on the long straights of the Enfield Road, we finally came to the Oxley Highway. Met up with Jidge at Ginger's and had a bite to eat. And then we made our way to our accommodation at the pub at Long Flat. And as soon as I threw my bag in my room, I headed out again for a ride with Jidge and Craig through some truly magical countryside. The sun was going down, the light was golden, it was casting shadows everywhere. It was such a beautiful time to ride. As Craig wasn't feeling well when we got to the top of the mountain, he was going to peel off and head home. Jidge and I were going to loop around and head back to the pub before dark. And this, my friends, is the perfect way to end a fantastic day of riding. The following day we were up bright and early to continue continue our journey. The 6 of us had had a great night at the Long Flat Travellers Rest Hotel. They had a new chef who put on a great feed, and after some beers, bourbons and scotches, we all hit the sack for a good night's sleep. And I'll tell you what, not naming names, some of these guys can snore louder than their bikes. And again we all found ourselves sitting on top of the world. The weather was absolutely magnificent as we made our way across to Ellenborough Falls, which is a horsetail waterfall on the headwaters of the Ellenborough River, and it's located in the mid-north coast region of New South Wales. We all had a coffee at the cafe, and a few of the boys had some of their famous homemade sausage rolls. We also said farewell to Gij and Jamie, and then there were 4, 2 BMWs and 2 mighty DR650s. Al gave me a ride on his BMW 800, which is so much different to the DR650. It's a beautiful bike to ride. And then we found ourselves at the Blue Knob Lookout, and at just over 1,000 metres it offers beautiful panoramic views. Then it was time to swap bikes once again, and I had a go of Mike's DR650. And as he rode Al's BMW, Al jumped on my bike, and I got to see what she looks like up close and personal. Mike's lowered his pegs on his DR, so I definitely have to get those. And my bike's too soft in the rear suspension. That's something I definitely have to address before Jackie and I head off to Tasmania later in the year. And after the 4 of us refueled back at Ginger's and had a bite to eat, it was time to say farewell, and I rode solo through Gloucester and finally arrived home. I'd had 2 days of absolutely brilliant adventure riding. The weather was awesome and the company couldn't be better. So thanks guys, you're all a great bunch of blokes. And until next time, I'm Artist Wayne Dowson, and thanks for watching everyone.